Hello friends, welcome back to part 2 of this Shadowbringers 5.5 MSQ stuff. I've just been and read $4 wiki entry. It's shorter than I thought, but it has reminded me of the attack on the palace and Fordola fighting off against Lakshmi and the cursed choker that will strangle her if she slips out of line. So it's like, yeah, okay. I've remembered bits and pieces of it. That's a giant bear. I give the impression Avenvold is a lot more apprehensive than he lets on. It would have been great for Alphinaud was there to see him off. Estinian Wormblood, the Azure Dragoon. This was another name that featured prominently in the history books, and it will be fascinating to meet the man in the flesh. Indeed. Here be dragons. So, Estinian was bound for Ishgard. Whatever it is that brings him home, we must hope it will keep him there long enough for us to find him. Come, there is no time to lose. I mean, to be fair, it is a little bit of a trek. To Ishgard. But that's fine. Because it means we get to listen to the Ishgard night music. Love it. Waha! I've only visited Ishgard once before, after the devastation of the 8th Thermal Calamity. To see the place in all its former, in all its original glory, is a tantalising prospect indeed. That must be so weird. The fact that the only memories that he has of this place are from our future, a future that now no longer exists. Assuming we find him, this may be my first encounter with the famous Estinian. This will be my first encounter with the famous Estinian. And if he's half the man Alphinaud claims, I fully expect to go weak at the knees. Perhaps do a bit of fainting while I'm at it. She's so sassy. All present? Good, let us split up and search for Estinian. Since we're relatively new to this place, Graf and I will look around the open spaces, the squares and markets and whatnot. You and Demagen can delve into the nooks and crannies. Very well. Let's reconvene at the airship landing later, with or without Estinian. Good luck. Okay. I think I shall begin at the Sky Steel Manufactory, so perhaps you could try the congregation? Lucia may well have heard news of our friend's return. I can do that. It is this one? Yes. You'd think, considering how many times I made this journey. On loop. Good morrow to you, Warrior of Light. Lord Emmerich sent word that you would be attending the meeting in Alamigo, so I gather you have not come in search of him. To what then do we owe the pleasure of your visits? We're looking for the Dragoon. I see. No, we were not aware Sir Estinian had returned to Ishgard, but as I expect you remember, he is wont to come and go as he pleases. Mayhap he came seeking an audience with Lord Emmerich, only to find him absent? In any event, I'm afraid I cannot help you. Perhaps one of your companions has fared better. Perhaps. Perhaps not. Yeah, those have definitely been upscaled. It's nice to see them not so horrendously pixely. It's a little touch, but it does make a difference. I wonder where they're standing. So Estinian is every bit as elusive as Urianger suggested. Alphino may be around there somewhere as well, but I couldn't see him. Oh, he's not. He's going to show up late. As he is wont
No sign of him.
to do.
Not that I've ever met him before, but the way Alphino goes on about him, I'm fairly sure I could pick him out in a crowd.
Romance.
Speaking of which, it does seem awfully quiet. If the erstwhile Azure Dragoon had returned to Ishgard, would it not be a source of general excitement?
No. Because he's... well, he's not wearing his... The last time he was here, he wasn't wearing his fancy armour and stuff, was he? Oh, no, never mind.
First the Scion's Coinkeeper, and now you. I'm beginning to think these meetings are more than mere coincidence.
Hi, Estinian. Nice to see you. Your hair's looking fabulous.
Not that I'm complaining. It's been too long.
That is not Alphino.
Too long.
You look an ilm taller and twice as rugged.
That's not going to go well, is it? Oh dear.
Quieter, though. Have you been giving him lessons on how to be the strong, silent type?
Uh-oh. Rage mode engaged.
Am not Alphino! If the two of you are such firm friends, perhaps you should remember what he looks like. And what do you mean, rugged? Oh, had my brother mentioned what an oaf you are, I'd never have bothered looking for you in the first place.
Estinian Wormblood, the Azure Dragoon. He who fought and felled the dread worm Nidhogg at the Warrior of Light's side. To think the day would come when I should see this living legend with my own eyes.
Oh, Graha.
Would someone mind explaining what is going on?
Is everything all right? I thought I heard Alize shouting. Estinian! It's been too long.
Oh dear.
No, it's quite understandable. That was hardly the first time we've been confused for one another.
How?
Nor I suspect will it be the last.
They don't even look that similar anymore.
Well, I, for one, will not be making that mistake again.
No, because you'll get punched in the nuts if you do.
What I will say, for the second time today, is that you've grown. Inside and out. I can tell.
One can't remain a spoiled little lordling forever, you know.
Yeah, but you don't have to be so useless all the frickin' time. Head pats.
At least someone's having a good time. You
Yes,
know,
don't
when we were growing up, Alphino would never befriend other boys because he couldn't stand the thought of not being in charge.
Surprise.
But maybe that's changed. He seems just as happy around Estinian as he does Arenvald.
Perhaps he sees them as the brothers he never had. No. I think he learned how to talk with people rather than at them. Totally choosing that one. Because I am just as
I wouldn't
sassy.
be so sure. He still loves nothing better than the sound of his own voice.
Oh, no, that is true. Says the YouTuber.
No rest for the righteous, eh? Speaking of which...
Oh,
I
are
was
we
just on
going
my way
to go
borrow
and talk
an
to
airship
Tiamat?
to take me to Azys.
Azys. How could I forget? The dragon with whom Bahamut shared the deepest.
It's been 4
bonds.
years, Alphino. You are allowed to forget the plot of Heavensward.
Aye.
Well, not the
Tiamat,
plot, but some of the
his
finer
mate.
details.
Even now, she remains imprisoned on Azys, though her remorse binds her
Was it
faster than
Remorse
any
that was the
shackle.
name of the place that I couldn't remember?
I see. As the one who first summoned Bahamut, you believe she may be able to shine some light on his latest incarnation.
Might I suggest that we make the journey to Azys together? I'm not sure if Tataru mentioned this, but we Scions have an airship of our own now.
It's true.
I see no reason why not. Assuming your sister can bear the thought of sharing a deck with me.
Be my guest. But confuse me with Alphino again, and I'll throw you overboard.
Well, now that he knows that you're wearing a completely different outfit. Also, he's a dragoon.
I don't know who he thinks he is, but he's nothing like Alphino painted him to be.
I will admit, he is not exactly as I imagined him either. Based on what I had read of the man, I think I was expecting someone a little less blunt.
Rugged. We're just going to stand there and grin. Also, Alizé's wearing a skirt. And I know Alphino is fashion forwards, but they really are. They have been kind of ramping up the comedy. And here we are in the... Was this the Delta Quadrant? Yes, it was. Oops. At some point, I'm going to stop doing that. Not to complain, but I didn't expect to find myself here again quite so soon. Well, that's the power of cutscene teleportation, isn't it? So, this is the Delta Quadrant, where countless dragons yet lie imprisoned. Great Tiamat among them. Tiamat summoned Bahamut once before. She may have again, willfully or no. It has been quite some time since I last set foot in Azys, but I understand the three of you were here rather more recently. I suppose you chanced to meet with Tiamat during your visits? No. Well, that's not. We had no cause to set foot here in the Delta Quadrant, but I have studied the relevant records, which is not to say I wouldn't appreciate a first-hand account of your dealings with her. Well then, Demigen's the person to ask. As far as I know, she's the only one of us to have actually met Tiamat face to face. Yes! The silent protagonist! Even now she remains a prisoner of the Allagan Empire. Let's just say it helped that Midgard Soma was there to introduce me. ... I mean, she is technically... I mean, not that any of this actually matters. Let's go with that one. Ever since the end of the war with Mos Eisley, yes. They've been held captive for so long. I too have met with Tiamat. After the Dragonsong War came to a close, I came here to speak with her, a worm who'd fought her own war against man in another age. I wished to know if she yet harboured thoughts of vengeance, and asked as much. She said no. My hatred for your kind was extinguished long ago. But the guilt she feels for resurrecting Bahamut burns on undimmed. It torments her, even now. I see. Then your original reason for coming here was out of concern that Tiamat had been forced to summon Bahamut. Nidhogg is a part of me. I feel his emotions as my own, and I know that he would not allow his sister to be made a tool of evil. In his absence, it falls to me to watch over her. Cool. Options for foods. And we're only 15 minutes in, so let's go straight into another quest. The Azys Dragoons have history with mortal enemies of the dragons, yet now they would be hard-pressed to find a soul who understood them better. Our grandfather sacrificed everything to protect the realm from Bahamut. We must be prepared to do the same. There's an Alphano amongst it. Yeah, there we go. It was the Assyrians who taught Tiamat the secrets of summoning, even as they supplied the Allegans with the means to capture primals. So much suffering, all of it by design. Estinian is ready to lead the way. Righteous indignation. Tiamat awaits. This way. Onwards! Diddle-oo, 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 doo-doo-doo. I continue to very much like the Azys music. I came here when I was leveling, just randomly leveling stuff. Antithesis, that was the name of the place. No wonder I couldn't remember it. So, this is one of the 7 great worms. Even this confined, her presence is overwhelming. I think the man is responsible for all of this. There's so much else that dragonkind has suffered. Resigned to her fate though she may be, I cannot help but feel that we may be able to help Tiamat, would she only let us. Dots, dots, dots. Hello. It's been a while. My sire's mortal companion, what bringeth thee back to this forsaken place, child of man?
It's plain she knows naught of recent events. Perhaps you should enlighten her.
There's a bit to tell. We shall do it with a fade to black. But my sins should be repeated. I sense not the faintest stirring. As to who could have called him forth, I know of none save the dragons of Mericidia, our children. The icon claimed their souls when first he manifested, and robbed of their will, they became tools of the Allegans' dark designs.
Much like those held here in Azys. If dragons who worship Bahamut are required to summon him, that must mean...
Yes, the dragons of Mericidia are at the mercy of this Assyrian. There can be no other explanation. Accursed Assyrians, vile minions of darkness. Again you would profane the memory of my beloved and strip our children of their freedom, their dignity. Are there no depths to which you will not stoop?
Your children's pain means nothing to them. They laugh at your kind suffering.
Laying it on a bit thick there, Estinian.
But tears will not right this wrong, nor will lamentation see the perpetrators punished.
What wouldst thou have from me, Slayer of Dragons? Join us!
Behavior befitting a great worm.
Ooh!
We came here to ask
Don't
mighty
poke the dragon.
Tiamat of the First Brood, consort of Bahamut, mother of the dragons of Mericidia, what she intends to do about the crimes committed against her children.
I mean, that's certainly one way of rousing her. Estinian ain't scared. Were I free, I would answer thine insolence with fire, but words shall have to suffice. Recall, mortals, that it was I who did first summon my beloved, praying with all my being to bring him forth. You who contend with icons cannot well be ignorant of the consequence.
You too were exposed to his influence. That you are yet in possession of your own will is testament to the indomitable strength of your soul.
But does she? If she's been moping here for the well, no, she does technically, doesn't she? I think we established that back in Heavensward.
But were you to meet with Bahamut again, you feel
Was
you
going to be
might
my next
succumb.
point. Indeed. Ask the Dragon Slayer, and he will tell thee the power we of the First Brood wield. Were I to lose myself to the Icon's influence, all would pay the price. But it is of little matter. For even had I the strength to resist, I yet lack the strength to break my shackles. This prison shall be my tomb. But what if we freed you? Can we pork see her?
Bahamut's influence, at least.
Oops, oh damn it.
If you're afraid of being enthralled, don't be. We have a cure. And while we've never tried it on one such as you, its basic principles are universal.
Speakest thou in earnest? Yes, Angelo, come forth.
There is no future for those bound to the past.
A rousing
That you
speech from
committed
Alphino.
a terrible
There's a
sin,
surprise.
I do not dispute. But if you feel remorse, you may yet make amends. We offer you that chance. Take it, or you will forever remain a prisoner, not of these cruel shackles, but of your own guilt.
Yep. A chance to make amends. To lay Bahamut's memory to rest. Take a chance. When our own star faced annihilation, Hydaelyn granted us sanctuary, and now your foes would bring about her destruction. This I cannot allow. For the debt I owe to Hydaelyn and to all who have suffered for my sins, I shall fight with you, children of man. Nice that they bring back that little reminder that the dragons, the First Brood, aren't from this planet. Pixels! So many pixels! Give me high-res textures. Okay, speak with Graha. Why would I want to do that? It just seems she still has some pride after all. Let's see if she's as good as her word. Don't make up for her. It won't make up for what she's suffered at the hands of men, but if there's a chance we can free her, truly free her, we owe it to her to try. I confess, my heart was in my throat when Estinian thought to berate her, but it appears to have had the desired effect. Yes. While Porxes have been shown to be effective in curing the tempered, Tiamat must be considered a special case. She is far, far larger and immeasurably more powerful than any subject treated thus far. Were we to remove her restraints only to find that the process had failed, we would be hard-pressed to contain her. Then, before going ahead, we should learn as much as we can about the exact nature of her condition. Do you suppose we can find that information here? Why, yes, we can. We can indeed. The Alligans kept detailed records on all of their notable captives, and I know exactly where to look. Andy? We shall leave that to you, then. In the meantime, the rest of us can turn our thoughts to the removal of those shackles. I know Alphino and Demagen here well enough, but not you. Are you certain you're ready to see this through? Rest assured, Sir Estinian, that I am both ready and willing to give my all for the sake of this star, though that is not my only reason for wanting to set Tiamat free. While I do not claim to know all of her sorrows, I too once found myself in a prison of despair, and I well understand how hard it can be to dare to dream of escape. It took the encouragement of braver souls than I am to make me take the first step towards a brighter future, and now I would help Tiamat do the same. I gather you are not as young as you look. Mayhap when our work here is done, we could trade tales over a pot of Tataru's famous tea? And be indebted to her for the leaves and hot water, I think not. I see. Returning swift to the task at hand, then. I believe the nodes governing Tiamat's restraint are located in the sector known as the flagship. Ah, yes, we are familiar with it. The etherochemical research facility in particular. Oh, you may wish to take this. A spirit vessel containing a small amount of my blood. It still works to open Allagan stuff, I suppose. Which you just happen to be carrying around with you? I suppose that could seem rather odd. To explain, Vambrose, Uwe, and I are researching the use of spirit vessels in the transference not only of memories, but the traits of certain bloodlines, and so I keep one at the ready should an opportunity to test our theories arise. As for its use to you, you may recall that during our previous visit, the nodes were granted access to restricted functions, having identified me as being of royal blood. Password! And armed with that spirit vessel, I posit that they will do the same for you, even in the absence of, well, the rest of me. It seemed worth a try, at least. Agreed. We will take good care of it. To the flagship, then! Nod. So basically, this entire quest line is us recruiting a dragon. I am fine with this. And Azys is a really impressive zone. The only thing that I dislike about Azys, apart from the really pixely sky, is the fact that it's so yellow. But I guess with the fact that everything is so yellow, it really helps make this green pop. So, you know. Oh, you can tell I'm using a controller for flight here, because it's difficult to hold the stick as steady. Giant Sphinx. I'm going to the wrong side, aren't I? Down? I would rather leave these elegant contraptions to you and Alphino. Let us split up and search the flagship for the node that controls Tiamat's restraints. But should you find a likely candidate, do not be tempted to make any adjustments. It will not do to accidentally release some manner of experimental monstrosity, nor less Tiamat herself in her current state. Our objective at this stage is simply to identify the relevant node or nodes. Once we've learned what we can, we should reconvene and compare notes prior to proceeding. Are these still level 60? Yes, they are. Right. I thought I'd turn down the sensitivity of this stuff. These nodes, or whatever it is you call them, why do they quiver so? Quiver is not really the term I would use. Bounce? Bob? Can't see a thing that close. Obstreperous node. Data link with Delta Quadrant broken. Possible cause? Intruder interference. Advised deployment of automatic combat units. Proceed. No. Malodorous node? Friction between metallic components detected. Temperature increasing to critical levels. Please replace damaged parts or retreat to a safe distance. I think there might be another one down here. Clamorous node. Blip blip, warning. Scheduled dragon restraint maintenance due in minus 2,020 years. Failure to verify system integrity may result in unscheduled specimen release. I think we've found the one. Do. I'm afraid Estinian and I have little show for our efforts. Did you find anything? Yes, a chirping node which spontaneously warned me about neglecting the dragon restraints. I did. A node which smelled like burned hair. Let's go with the actual response. Spontaneously, you say? Well, that does sound promising. Almost suspiciously so, in fact. But then you were in possession of the spirit vessel. I dare say it is indeed the node of which Graham spoke. It was chirping, you say? Very well, let's just take a closer look. Back to the node. As I suspected, this node will not acknowledge my authority to issue instructions, because you don't know the password. Yep. Do you wish to operate the dragon restraint mechanisms? Yep. You do not have the requisite access privileges. Operation of the dragon restraint mechanisms may only be undertaken by the chief technologist and members of the royal family. Or those with a vessel full of royal blood, perhaps? One never knows when a small portion of royal Algan blood might come in handy, which is why a Grahatir keeps this vessel about his person. Blip. Blip. New user detected. Commencing biometric authentication. Bloop. Authentication. 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 That. Complete. User identified as member of the royal family. Please state your name. Bloop. Welcome, Temujin Blackthorn. You may operate the dragon restraint mechanisms when ready. Bleep bloop. Error. Unable to disengage restraints of the specimen. Tiamat. A system update is required. Well, it's a good job we checked. A system update? What do you suppose it's asking of us? Just, I could hazard a guess. Well, that's more than I can say. Confounded bloody thing. Ah, new young'uns with your technology. User agitation detected. Initiating guidance program. Bloop. In order to operate the restraint mechanism, I require access to the central control system. However, I am unable to establish a link to said system due to the obsolescence of my own software. My own software. This issue can be resolved by applying a system update using the corresponding terminal located within the flagship. I wish I hadn't done such a high-pitched voice for this. So, can this thing release the restraints or not? It can, but only once it has received the requisite system update, as far as I can tell. Until which time it'll float there spewing nonsense. User dissatisfaction detected. Initiating placation protocols. Bloop. I am here to help. Rest assured that I will be on hand to guide you through every step of the system update process. How gratifying. But I dare say we will fare better with guidance than without it. Odd. Righteous indignation. Oh dear. Technology, eh? I don't know what possessed the arrogance to surround themselves with these chattering orbs, but the fact that they remain while their creators do not speaks volumes. Sydney's colleagues always make operating these elegant devices seem so easy. That is true. Well, so far, this story has been equal mix of silly and serious. And considering we are essentially coming up to the end game of the Ascian Zodiac arc, I think it's only appropriate that we are trying to keep things light but maintaining that forward momentum and seriousness at the same time. Don't yet have any predictions about where the story is going, because obviously we've seen from the trailer that they're going to free Tiamat. There's not a whole lot here to be going on with. I assume, however, that we are going to use Tiamat to access Phlegm. I can't remember. When Arenvald and Fordola get captured, because I suspect that's the way it's going to go. Yeah, we'll find out next time. Next time when we will do some more voice silliness, no doubt. Until then, folks, that has been part 2 of my 5.5 MSQ. I'm talking too fast and stumbling over everything. 5.5 MSQ playthrough. Join me for part 3 next time. Until then, have yourselves a great day, good evening, stay safe, cheerio. Oh yeah, as it's like music. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.